Tato jayam mudirayet nashtaprayesha badresho nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 21. Chapter 21 is entitled The Dynasty of Bharata. This Bharata is the son of King Dushmanta. Text number 7. Athanyo bhokshamanasya Athanyo bhokshamanasya vibhaktasya mahipate vibhaktasya mahipate vibhaktasya mahipate vibhaktam vyabhajan tasmai vibhaktam vyabhajat tasmai vrishalaya harim smaran vrishalaya harim smaran athanyo bhokshamanasya vibhaktasya mahipate vibhaktam vyabhajat tasmai vrishalaya harim smaran. Athanyo bhokshamanasya vibhaktasya mahipate vibhaktam vyabhajat tasmai vishalaya harim smaran. Athanyo bhokshamanasya vibhaktasya mahipate vibhaktam vyabhajat tasmai vishalaya harim smaran. Athanyo bhokshamanasya mahipate vibhaktam vyabhajat tasmai vrishalaya harim smaran. Atha, thereafter, anyaha, another guest, bhokshamanasya, who was just about to eat, vibhaktasya, after setting aside the share for the family, mahipate, of the king, vibhaktam, the food allotted for the family, vyabhajan, he divided and distributed, tasmai, unto him, prishalaya, unto a Shudra, Harim, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Smaran, remembering. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. Thereafter, having divided the remaining food with his relatives, Rantideva was just about to eat his own share when a Shudra guest arrived. Seeing the Shudra in relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, King Rantideva gave him also a share of the food. Please repeat this translation. Thereafter, having divided the remaining food with his relatives, Rantideva was just about to eat his own share when a Shudra guest arrived. Seeing the Shudra in relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, King Rantideva gave him also a share of the food. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Because King Rantideva saw everyone as part of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he never distinguished between the Brahmana and the Shudra, the poor and the rich. Such equal vision is called Samadarshinaha, Pandita Samadarshinaha. One who has actually realized that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated in everyone's heart, and that every living being is part of the Lord, does not make any distinction between the Brahmana and the Shudra, the poor, Daridra, and the rich, Dhani. Such a person sees all living beings equally and treats them equally without discrimination. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namne. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracha Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatar. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Rama Rama. So in the dynasty of Bharata, Rantideva has appeared, and his particular glories are being detailed by Shukadeva Goswami. These are the glories of great devotees, pure devotees. Throughout the Bhagavatam, you will find descriptions of the glories of the Supreme Lord and his pure devotees. That's the reason why the title itself is Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad means it is full of opulence, Shri, and Bhagavatam in relationship with Bhagavan. So everything about Bhagavan. Bhagavan means the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His beauty, his strength, his wealth, his knowledge, his fame, his paraphernalia, his abode, his devotees, and even about everything in relationship with the Supreme Lord, including this material world, and all the living beings, and the working of this material energy. Everything is there in the Bhagavatam. That's why it is the complete, perfect Vedic literature. It is the Paramahamsa Samhita. Samhita means Vedic literature. And it is meant for the Paramahamsas, though It is not restricted only to the Paramahamsas. It is for everyone. But Paramahamsas can appreciate it the most. Others have to hear from the Paramahamsas the descriptions or the proper understanding. Otherwise, there are possibilities that somebody who's not a Paramahamsa will misunderstand. Just like this very example of Rantideva. Now, Rantideva is an extraordinary devotee who, even though he was the king, he never endeavored to earn anything. He would enjoy whatever he got by the arrangement of providence. Such dependence on the Supreme Lord should not be imitated. It is not an excuse for becoming lazy. Just like a householder has got the responsibility to earn a proper honest livelihood and maintain his family. Now, if he says, Rantideva never endeavored to earn anything, so I'll also not endeavor. Whatever by arrangement of providence I get, with that I'll maintain myself and my family. No, that is imitation. That is not proper following. Clearly, the scriptures describe the duties of each and every human being. And before one reaches the stage of Paramahamsa or pure devotee, one has to perform one's duties. One has to perform one's duties, prescribed duties, and these duties are also prescribed. One cannot assume or think, whatever I like to do, that is my duty. No. Just like nowadays people have self-assumed duties. If we call them to the temple, oh, I have got a lot of duties to perform. I have no time to come to the temple. So what is the duty that is occupying you all the 24 hours a day? Oh, I have got to work. I work 16 hours. Why are you working 16 hours? Oh, I want to earn to maintain my family. So, if you work 8 or 10 hours, isn't that enough for maintaining your family? Oh, that's hardly enough. Why? Because the person has assumed that this life is meant for material enjoyment. And therefore, for the sake of material enjoyment, he has not only expanded his own field of enjoyment by accumulating so many unnecessary so-called necessities. The necessities are very few. But modern civilization, in the name of necessities, they have expanded their necessities practically unlimitedly. And then not only expanding his own necessities, but he also expands his field of enjoyment by marrying and having a family. It is in this connection The Srimad Bhagavatam says that a wife is called Stri only if the wife is accepted simply for expanding the field of enjoyment. This is the position of a materialist. Why does a materialist marry? Just for the sake of expanding his field of enjoyment. So such a materialist is not a grihastha, he is a Gramedi. It's a Gramedi. That means he is described as a person who is envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and because of that, in order to enjoy like the Supreme Lord, he also tries to expand his field of enjoyment in all possible ways. So, Grihastha, on the other hand, he also accepts a wife and maintains a family and earns an honest livelihood. But that is just for the sake of performing his duty. His duty. What is the difference in the vision between a Grihastha and a Gramedi? A Gramedi has no understanding that he is the spirit soul. He is not the body. So his whole life, his entire existence is based on the misunderstanding, I am this body. And what is the misunderstanding? Because he thinks I am the body, every available resource, all time, all energy, everything is spent in how to simply satisfy his senses, his mind, his false ego. That's all his life is. And for that sake, he will do anything. Even if he is pious, because he is afraid of suffering sinful reactions, he may abstain from sin. But pious ways, he will try to enjoy in all possible pious ways. Whereas a Grihastha, he understands I am not the body. Therefore, first thing he does is cut down this business of sense gratification. No sense gratification. Instead, work for the soul, the spirit, and try to satisfy the spirit. Try to satisfy the spirit. And spiritual satisfaction is never attained by material methods. Never. Neither material happiness, nor material possessions, nor material enjoyment, nor material relationships will ever satisfy the soul. Soul can be satisfied only by spiritual methods, by spiritual relationship. So a Grihastha has spiritual relationship. He has a spiritual relationship, first of all, with the Supreme Lord. He understands. Eternal relationship. And then in relationship with Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is also relationship with everyone else who's part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So in such understanding, he maintains his family for the same purpose, that he is working for his deliverance from this material world. He also works for the deliverance of his family members, of whom he has taken responsibility. It's a responsibility. Family life is a responsibility, life of responsibility. Not a life of enjoyment. Family life is not a life of enjoyment. It is a life of responsibility. responsibility for delivering the wife, delivering the children. This is the responsibility. And for carrying out such a responsibility, one cannot come up with one's own concocted program. How am I going to deliver myself or deliver my speculate? No speculation. The scriptures clearly describe what is your duty in terms of your responsibility. So the duty is to actually maintain, first of all, provide for the necessities, the basic necessities, and also care for their spiritual upliftment. Do his duty of giving them Krishna consciousness. So in this way, we can see Rantideva, he is proving by his actions how he is acting very, very responsibly. When it says he did not endeavor to earn anything, it means that because he was in the position of a king, naturally a king has got a kingdom, a treasury. A king levies taxes on those who are wealth generators, the Vaishyas. The king will never tax the Brahmanas. The king will never, there's no question of taxing the Shudras, because Shudras don't have any wealth in the Vedic culture. And the Kshatriyas, they themselves are protectors of the citizens. They are the maintainers of the whole kingdom. So they are also not taxed. Only the Vaishyas are taxed, because Vaishyas are wealth generators. The Vaishyas do some business or cultivation of the land, and whatever they get out of that, 25% they give tax to the king. And in return, the king will protect, give protection, and he will provide in times of need. Even the underprivileged, the king will completely take responsibility of maintenance, protection, maintenance, facilities, public facilities, like that. So those are the duties of the king. But since Rantideva was a king, he had wealth. He didn't have to endeavor for it. And also, since he was performing his duties very nicely, by the arrangement of the Supreme Lord, when everyone does their duty, there is plenty of supply by higher arrangement, the Devatas. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes in the 3rd chapter, Ishtan, the 12th verse of the 3rd chapter. Ishtan bhogani vo deva dasyante yajna bhavitaha. When yajna is performed by the king, then the demigods, being satisfied by the performance of yajna, supply all necessities to man. But if people accept this gifts given by the arrangement of king doing his duty and the arrangement by which demigods give all the necessities, but they don't offer in return to the demigods the yajna, then they become thieves. They become thieves. Anyway, so according to the scriptures, if the king is doing his duty, then there is plenty of supply by nature through the arrangement of the Supreme Lord. by which the demigods in charge of various necessities will supply. So he didn't have to do anything other than his duties. When it says he never endeavored to earn anything beyond whatever is his duty, he wouldn't perform extra work in order to get more money for the sake of enjoying more. No. He would enjoy whatever he got by the arrangement of providence. This is where providence is to be properly understood. As far as my enjoyment is concerned, or satisfying the demands of my body, whatever is made available, only that much. So one should never endeavor to earn excess wealth. Never endeavor to earn excess wealth. Whatever by performance of one's duties one gets, and those duties are also prescribed duties. Sometimes people say, a thief thinks his duty is to steal because he has to maintain his family, and that's his means of earning his or getting his money. So, nowhere in the scriptures it says stealing is an occupation of a thief. So, it's not his prescribed duty to steal, even though it is prescribed duty to maintain his family by earning a livelihood. Yes. But what is that livelihood is defined in the Shastra. What is that livelihood? Means of earning livelihood is defined in the Shastra. In any case, in Kali Yuga, because it's very difficult to actually understand what is our exact position in terms of Varnashrama system, because Varnashrama system is gone topsy-turvy. It has become a degraded caste system, and caste by birth, which is totally wrong. Caste by birth is totally wrong. It is misuse and misunderstanding and misrepresentation of the Varnashrama dharma. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Sthane sthita shrutigatam tanuvan manobhi, from the Bhagavatam. This is from the Bhagavatam. That you remain in your position. You have an honest means of earning your livelihood, whatever it may be. Now, it's not possible to refer the Shastras and understand according to my guna, what is my acquired nature, and accordingly what is my prescribed occupation. All that is not possible in Kali Yuga. So practically speaking, just you earn a livelihood by honest means. No cheating, no stealing, no corruption, no bribery, no working like a donkey 18 hours a day, neglecting one's spiritual duties. No. This is against the scriptures. In the seventh canto particularly, Prahlad Maharaj says that one should never over-endeavor for earning money. So then the question will be raised, what is described as over-endeavor? That doesn't give license for one person to become lazy and not do any work at all. No. One has to work, but a certain limitation is there on that. Not for the sake of earning a lot of money, neither for the sake of pleasing one's own senses, for the sake of one's own sense satisfaction or satisfaction of one's own mind, that one has to work. No, it is out of duty one has to work. Out of duty. But there is also, apart from material duties, there are spiritual duties. There are spiritual duties. So that is described also in the Bhagavad Gita, Swadharma and Sanatana Dharma. Swadharma is one's duties in terms of one's acquired body and mind system and being a part of this society. According to that, Swadharma is prescribed. And Sanatana Dharma is spiritual duties, which is only one, and that is to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that's equally applicable for every human being. Every human being. Irrespective of who that person is, what that person's position is. So when Shastra says one should see equally all human beings, not all human beings, all living entities. Pandita Samadarshinaha. It's like Rantideva, seeing everyone as a part of the Supreme Lord and seeing in everyone's heart the presence of the Supreme Lord as Paramatma. He would actually treat everyone equally. In what way he would treat everyone equally? In distributing whatever he had if they were in need. If somebody is in need of food because they are hungry and they don't have food, then he will give whatever he has, even his own share, he will give away. So the instance that is being described here is that once after fasting for 48 days without taking any water or any food, nirjala, nirahara, 48 days he fasted, and this is also not his concoction. It is according to the scriptures, performing one vrata for pleasing the Supreme Lord. Then the time and the day for breaking the fast came. Some nice foodstuffs were prepared with milk and ghee and nice sweet drinking water. Everything was offered to the Supreme Lord, and after offering, he was about to accept the prasadam to break his fast. Exactly at that time, one Brahmana guest arrived, just when he was about to. Now, guest in the sense of atithi. Atithi means one who comes without prior information, without prior intimation, without prior appointment, without announcing. All of a sudden, they walk in. And particularly a king. For him, anybody who comes to see him is a guest. Anybody. So a Brahmana guest arrived, then he has to first take care of the guest, then only he can. So he gave him a share of the food that was there, and the Brahmana guest ate his share and went away. Then the remaining food he was about to divide. No, he divided among the relatives, and he gave away their share and his own share. Dividing means dividing between everyone else. So his own share, he was about to eat. Shudra arrived. Shudra guest arrived. What did he do? Because he saw the Shudra also in relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mamaivamsho jivaloke jivabhuta sanatanaha. Every living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So what to speak of Shudra? Everyone. So seeing that person, the Shudra, also as part of the Supreme Lord, he also gave him a share of his own food, what he had, what he is about to eat. He gave him also a share. Now, here it is described equal vision. He saw everyone with equal vision. Now, we have to carefully understand what this equal vision means. It means that one does not discriminate between different living beings when it comes to sharing what one has, specifically in this respect. That sharing what one has, one should not discriminate. Not that a Brahmana, he will give some share of the prasadam, and Shudra, he will say, oh, you're a Shudra, you're low class, you're unclean, so you don't deserve to get any prasadam. No. So, in this regard, in the Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Shuni Chaiva Shvapakecha Pandita Samadarshinaha. A person who is learned, who is transcendentally enlightened, he sees the same spirit soul in all living beings, same quality of spirit. They are individuals, but they are same quality. By external dress, called the body and mind, they are different. They are differently situated. But inside the covering of this material body and mind is the same quality of spirit, the same part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane, a learned and gentle Brahmana, who is the most well-behaved in the society, ideal person who follows all the principles of dharma in the human society. Such a person, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater. Now, among the species of animals, different animals are in different degrees of ignorance, mode of ignorance. So, cow is the topmost among all the animals. Cow is worshipable, even though it's an animal. And Srila Prabhupada points out, Shastra says, the cow dung, which is nothing but the stool of the cow, that is actually pure. That's pure. So we use cow dung for abhishek of Krishna's deity. The Britishers, when they saw that they could not conquer this country culturally, then they tried to degrade us by pointing out, oh, you have got all your ancient customs are all very, very low class. So they used to make fun of all our rituals, all our practices. And because people all were not educated so much, neither they cared to find out why we perform certain rituals or why we worship the Lord in a particular way, or what is the understanding of the deity. As this understanding gradually became lost and they introduced their own education system and systematically made us more and more ignorant of our real culture, of our real wealth, called the Vedic wisdom. So then we don't know why we have to do abhishek for the deity. What is the deity? We don't know what is the deity. And added to that, one social reform movement started by one person. I don't want to name that person. he condemned deity worship as idol worship. First of all, deity is not idol. Idol means some imaginary form of God somebody imagines and then worships according to his own imagination. Somebody worships a stone, somebody worships a monkey, somebody worships a cow, somebody worships a tree, somebody worships himself. So these are all according to one philosophy propounded by a social reformer. All these are idol worship, because in the Shastras it says you must not worship idols. Sometimes Hindus think, oh, in Christian religion it is told idol worship is wrong. Indian system or Hindu system actually allows idol worship. No! Our Vedic scriptures don't allow idol worship. No, you cannot concoct any system of worship of some form. No, you cannot. It is totally forbidden. You cannot. Then why are there so many different things told to be worshipped? Worship the banyan tree, worship the tulsi tree, worship cow, worship Hanuman, worship Varaha. We say God in the shape of a boar, a devotee in the shape of a monkey, pure devotee who is worshipable. So why we worship all this? This is not some imagination. These are real personalities. And they are worshipable because they are spiritually pure. They don't have any material contamination. See, the cow dung, even though it's a stool of the cow, it doesn't have bad smell like the stool of even a human being. Prabhupada says, you don't use your logic. Since a Brahmana is purer, more learned, so Brahmana's stool is even more pure than the cow's stool. No, this logic is not going to work. So human logic will fail to understand some of the scriptural injunctions. Scriptures only allow us to worship Krishna with cow dung, Abhishek of Krishna with cow dung, not any other stool. No. Every other stool is untouchable, amedhya, untouchable. So, like that, if we don't understand from the parampara system, we don't have. In fact, one of the scientists in Bengal, Prabhupada says, during his own time, he did research that how this cow dung is special for the Hindus. And he found out so many antiseptic properties it has got. So many antiseptic properties. So formerly they used to have earthen floor. They used to smear that earthen floor with cow dung, so that the floor will become antiseptic. It will become antiseptic. Now we replace that cow dung with some chemicals which also make our cleaning antiseptic. Okay, that is okay. But we should understand cow dung was not simply done out of some superstitious belief or some blind following. No, it had a scientific basis. Whether our grandmother was able to explain that or not explain that, they had the intelligence to follow, because they knew there was some real value for that. Like that, so many things Prabhupada explains, you see, because initially his Western disciples, they would ask him questions and questions and questions and questions and questions. He was flooded with questions. So he patiently answered every single question, every single question. And because of them asking, because we are shy to ask, people laugh at us, you don't even know this much. Sometimes we are shy to ask. But they didn't have any shyness because they really don't know anything. They never trained in Vedic culture. They never read anything or heard anything. So they're asking Prabhupada. Prabhupada is answering patiently everything, very systematically. So everything Prabhupada is explained. It's for our benefit also. Because we may know some things, but we may also be ignorant of some other things. So Prabhupada has explained everything. So here Prabhupada is explaining how seeing equally means sharing what we are supposed to share. We don't discriminate. We don't discriminate. So this lesson we have to learn. To the extent that Rantideva, he himself would fast, but he would not deny somebody who deserves some share of the food that he has. And further verses will describe, he even gave away his own share, last bit of his share. And then when he was about to drink the water, that water also, when he was about to drink, somebody came thirsty, he gave away that water. So this is the equal vision. This is the equal vision. So to understand specifically when it says equality, in what way that equality is to be applied. That also is explained in the scriptures. I'll stop here. Nantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.